October 15th, we get the return of Deontay Wilder. Now, look, I'm the biggest fan as Tyson Fury as anybody. I like Anthony Joshua as much as anybody else. I love what Alexander Usyk brings to the table. But that doesn't mean that the heavyweight division isn't better with Deontay Wilder in it. Look, it just is, man. It just is a more exciting division. It gives us more questions. It gives us more opportunity for big fights. Super excited that he's coming back in, right? And we get to see him in against Robert Helenius. I think it's going to be a tough night for Robert Helenius, man. Now, look, I know these guys used to be sparring partners, so they're not coming in completely unknown to each other. It's not like Helenius has absolutely no idea what to expect. It's not like the only thing that he sees is looking at film. He's actually been in there with Deontay Wilder, right? He's actually felt him out a little bit. Maybe he's felt the power a little bit. Although sparring's different, or he's seen the speed, he's seen the angles, he's kind of seen what he can do. But make no mistake about it, sparring is different than fight night. Everybody knows that. Everybody will tell you that. Sparring is different than fight night, right? Now, there's a few easy examples on how it's different. Maybe in sparring, they're wearing 18-ounce gloves or 20-ounce gloves, and under the bright lights, they're wearing 10-ounce gloves. Major difference, right? Major difference in a couple ways. One, major difference in how you're going to be able to block shots. When you have much bigger gloves with much more padding on them on your hand to block, and the guy throwing the punch at you has much bigger gloves, a little bit easier, a little bit more cushioning for what you do feel. Right, when you got those small gloves, man, those things are compact. That foam in there is tight, or maybe it's actually horsehair, depending on what type of glove they're using. But that thing is tight. When you put it up against the side of your head, it covers a much smaller surface area for what you can defend. So that's one where you actually physically see the difference, right? Also in the headgear, same type of thing. Now, the headgear actually kind of works for you and against you, right? It's easy to see how it works for you in the sense that it's all this padding. So you're in there, you're working, you're taking a lot of shots. It's going to lengthen your career. It's going to potentially see less knockouts, less concussions, less wear and tear on your body, all of those types of things. But one of the things that nobody talks about, and I used to hate it when I had headgear on, was the fact that it limits your vision. Right? Almost every piece of headgear you have, even if you got like that Olympic, real thin level headgear, it still limits your vision a little bit. And it may not seem like much, but when you're in there and you're actually doing it, I think it makes a difference, man. Okay, like there's just little angles and little things that you see that you don't, maybe your peripheral vision doesn't pick up quite as much, or maybe you don't see it. And anybody who knows anything will tell you that it's the shot you don't see that hurts you. It's the shot that you don't see coming, the one that you can't prepare for, that's going to do the most damage. So anyway, I say all that to say these guys have experience sparring each other, but they don't have experience fighting each other under the bright light. So it's going to be a little bit different. And then the other way it's going to be different is the growth. Okay, you take a guy like Robert Helenius. He has been around the sport for a lot longer. When him and Deontay Wilder were sparring, he was a lot more polished. He probably isn't that much different than what he is today. Maybe little tweaks, little changes, little bits here and there. But the longer you have in the sport, the more you're not going to change. Okay, so you're kind of a little bit more set in your ways. You've kind of developed your style. You've developed the things that you do. So you may tweak it a little bit, but you're not going to change nearly as much as a guy who's only been doing it for 7 years, and now you see him 5 years after that. There's a lot of room for improvement. There's a lot of room for growth. Deontay Wilder he was historically raw when he was young. I'll put it that way, right? Which I think is being kind. But go back and look at a little bit at his amateur career, right? He came into boxing late. He was a basketball player, okay? And you can even see that in his build, right? It was one of the things that Tyson Fury was saying in the build up to their first fight. He's like, you're not a fighter, man. You're a basketball player. What are you, like 6'7", 220 pounds? You're skinny. You're small. All of that type of stuff. But that's why he was saying that. You look at basketball players and all the cardio they're doing, running up and down the court, definitely a different physical frame, definitely a different build than you see on, a football player or a fighter or anything else. So that's the background that he comes from. Also speaks to his athleticism, but that's another point. But that's the background that he comes from, right? He was playing basketball at the college level, ended up, for whatever reason, deciding or figuring out that he couldn't make it to the pro level, ends up coming over and doing boxing. Goes to the Olympics as a heavyweight, just incredibly raw. I mean, if you're a fan of the sweet science, if you love the art of boxing, and you go back and you watch a Deontay Wilder's amateur fights, man, it's probably going to hurt you. It's probably going to be painful. Your stomach might go in a little bit and not. You might have to turn away and cringe a little bit, right? It's rough. It's rough. Diamond in the rough, though. I want to throw that in there because obviously he always still had that power, and then we eventually saw what he did. Mark Breland, the man who threw in the towel during the first fight with Tyson Fury or the second fight, and the man who was fired by Deontay Wilder. Mark Breland did wonders with Deontay Wilder, man. If you go back and you watch those old fights and you realize how much work needed to be done to step Deontay Wilder's game up to a world-class championship level, and then you think about the time frame that he did it in, Mark Breland was great, man. I get it. He's not the only guy. I'm not trying to heap all the praise on him individually. Deontay Wilder had to do a tremendous amount of work. He had to be willing to be instructed, willing to be taught, willing to do all those things, accept that, and do it. But he had to have somebody there willing to teach him. He had to have somebody who had to figure out how to talk to him. So yeah, you had JD's in the corner too, and now he's over there and he's working with, he's got the new trainer, was it Malik Scott? He was working with for this last fight, and now he's continuing to work with him. And I think he's continuing to step his game up still. Deontay Wilder is still improving, right? One thing that I can say about the man is he appears to be a man who is open to taking instruction. He appears to be a man who's okay with admitting that you don't know everything so that you can be taught and know more and become better, right? We see him still improving. Love the way he went to the body in the last fight with Tyson Fury. Okay, that was a new little wrinkle that we hadn't really seen from him. So look, I went off a little bit there on a few different angles, said a few different things, but I'm getting at this point. These guys know a little bit, but they don't know each other fully, and I believe that Deontay Wilder has improved by far more than Robert Helenius has improved since their sparring match. Now, Helenius is a good fighter, man. When there was a point in his career when people thought he was going to really do big things, thought he was going to be this heavyweight that was coming out and taking over. Took a couple losses since then, man. Took a little bit of wear and tear, took some shots. Now he's kind of tried to restart his career, tried to re-come back, put a few wins together, and now he's getting this fight with Deontay Wilder. I don't think it's going to go well for him at all. He's got some good offense. He's got a little bit of power. He can throw in combination, got some good straight punches. Very big guy with some reach. But look, he's not athletic enough. He doesn't have fast enough. His hands are not fast enough. His upper body movement isn't anywhere near what it needs to be able to handle the offense and the power that Deontay Wilder is going to bring to the table. Like, dude, Deontay Wilder connects with everybody. He drops everybody. But all of a sudden we think he's not going to drop Helenius, or maybe you think Helenius is going to get up. Maybe. I just think he's going to get dropped again. I mean, look, there's only been one person who's been able to go out there and handle what Deontay Wilder brings to the table for 12 rounds or more. That one person is Tyson Fury. Okay? We saw what he did, and we saw the way he was able to do it. Robert Helenius just spoke about it. He said, hey, I can look at that Tyson Fury match, and I can take that as a blueprint. I can see what Tyson Fury did, and I can apply those same principles when I go in there. Deontay Wilder's going to be in trouble. But here's the problem. The problem is you not only need to be able to look at the blueprint, you not only need to be able to internalize it and decide how you're going to do it, you also need to be able to go out there and actually execute. You need to be able to go out there on fight night and put that blueprint into play when you have a man like Deontay Wilder who's doing his best to just tear your head off with that right hand. He's not going to be able to do it. He's not going to be able to go in there and back him up. He's not going to be able to eat the shots when he does land. Because remember, Tyson Fury got dropped multiple times, even though he won those fights. Got dropped multiple times, so you got to be able to have the chin. You got to be able to stand back up. You have to be able to continue to implement that game plan in the face of that fire that is going to be just, man, Deontay Wilder's like a dragon just breathing fire, and you have to know, I have to get through the fire to get in there and be able to stab him in the heart and get the win. Got to get inside close because this fire on the outside is too much. So got to get through the fire to be able to get inside where there isn't the fire, and then I can do my work. Yeah, good luck with that. I don't think Helenius is going to be able to do it. I think Tyson Fury had a great game plan, but the man is a special fighter. He's a historically great fighter. I think he's a man who could have competed and been successful during any time period in the heavyweight division. The skills that he brings are unique. The mental focus and the dedication that he has, the work ethic to be able to get himself in play. Dude, the toughness that he has to be able to continue to fight in the face of those shots that he had from Wilder. Like, that's the way I feel about Tyson Fury, and I don't think that's the type of man that I think it takes to be able to beat Deontay Wilder. And I don't think Helenius has that. So not to take anything from him, I just don't think he's up there. There's levels to the game. Deontay Wilder is at the top. Robert Helenius is not. It's just that simple. So not really a big secret, not really a big surprise in the sense that Deontay Wilder's coming in as an 8-1 favorite in this one. I think there's only one potential question. Well, there's one question mark out there. We don't know what it's going to be, right? Hence the question mark. But there's one question mark out there for Deontay Wilder. And that is going to be, has there been any wear and tear on him? Has there been any negative effect from what he saw with that fight with Tyson Fury, right? We had 3 fights there. A lot of punishment was handed out on both sides, but by far the most punishment was dealt out to Deontay Wilder. Got stopped in the last 2 fights, man. Go back and look at that. Go back and look at that last knockdown that Tyson Fury inflicted on him. Not for the faint of heart. But here's the thing. I think he took the time off and recuperated. I think physically he's going to be just as good as he ever was, maybe even better because of the time off. Mentally, I think he's strong, man. And honestly, I think he is still out there to a degree telling himself that Tyson Fury was not completely on the up and up. That something wasn't on board. He was doing steroids. He had the egg weights. He had the trainer going for him. He had the tainted water. Whatever it was, whatever it is, I believe that Deontay Wilder has convinced himself that he was not beat fair and square. Therefore, he still believes that on some level he's the better man. He's superior. He cannot be defeated by somebody who's playing it by the rules, who just goes in there with your fists and tries to put him down. I think that he really believes that. And my point in saying all that is he's still going to have an incredibly high level of confidence. I don't think his confidence was hit in the least by those losses to Tyson Fury. I think he's still going in here believing that he is at this level and that he can go in there and not only beat but knock out any man that he steps into the ring with. I really do. I think he believes that. And that's what counts. Doesn't count what I think. That don't matter. It's not going to affect him on fight night. Doesn't matter what you think. Not going to affect Deontay Wilder on fight night. What's going to affect Deontay Wilder on fight night is the internal voice in his head, right? The conversation that he's having with himself and what he truly believes. Not even what he says to the media. He can tell the media whatever he wants, but if he has a little bit of doubt, they tell you the ring, it's the truth. The truth comes out. You cannot hide who you are, what you believe, all of that. That all comes to pass in a fight. You are going to see everything. But I believe that he really believes it. So I don't think he's going to be hindered in the least. I expect him to go out here and look impressive, look refreshed, look renewed, get the knockout victory. Wouldn't be surprised if it happened inside of 4 rounds. So let me know what you guys think. Am I underestimating what Helenius brings to the table? Am I overestimating how good Wilder's going to look and that maybe those 3 fights did take some wear and tear on him? Maybe those 3 fights made him a little skittish. Maybe they made him a little bit hesitant. Doesn't want to put himself in position to get caught like that again. I guess we'll see, right? Let me know what you guys think.